Carty, if you're able to get a takeaway, begin the ball game on defense. Just starting with the positive on that note, you know, how gratifying was that to see the beginning of the ball game on the road in this atmosphere with this crowd? I mean, did you feel that was a way to maybe quiet the crowd and give you guys a chance to keep staying in early?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly had a big play early. That's awesome. I don't know how quiet it got. Maybe for about 20 seconds it got quiet. You know, it's great to see that fast start for sure. I mean, you know, I think it took both teams a little bit of time to settle into what would and wouldn't work in the conditions that were going on there. You know, I think you obviously saw that was an issue for them on that play. So yeah, it was great to start that way. I wish we did more of it.
What happened on that punt that allowed it to be blocked? And when Montana scored one play later, how big of a turning point did you feel that was?
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly, you know, a turning point in some, you know, I mean, it's points, right, and possessions. So that's obviously a big one. You know, it was a high snap. You know, again, I think I'm not going to make excuses about it. I mean, I'm sure there were condition problems, and I don't know if we did a nice job. You know, we've never played in that, and so I don't know if we did a good enough job at probably getting the ball, you know, on the ground and maybe like wiping off the area, you know, things like that. I'm sure that played a part in it, and I think once we figured it out, we got a little better. The second snap was still obviously high when we snapped the ball over his head. So, you know, that just messes up the timing, and then it gets you the ability to, you know, even if they're not sending a full block, you know, if you're up in the air catching it, you got to get it down. You're going to get closer and closer when the rhythm's off. You're trying to snap that thing in about 2 seconds, and when it's 2.4, it's going to make a difference.
How difficult is it, you know, when Montana's just taking advantage of mistakes like that, right? They'll play right after the pump block, they take it in for a touchdown, the safety happens right after the drops on third down. I mean, you guys were moving the ball okay, but it just seemed like they were taking advantage of every mistake.
Yeah, I think that's what good teams do, right? And, you know, when we've played well, we've done the same thing. You know, you got to capitalize on those. If somebody gives you one, takes the ball away, you know, those you got to come away with points right there. And I think, you know, points off turnovers is something that we really preach, and our team as well. And you know, usually when the teams that take it away or have a big play and the momentum shifts, usually when you can put it in right after that, it's going to be pretty devastating. And especially in a crowd like this, when you get the you know, the home field kind of riled up. And you know, I think our guys did a great job at not letting you know, those shifts last for very long. I think we did a good job fighting and finishing, but there were some times where it got on top of us for sure.
Coach, I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about, you knew to take the ball from the north end going south to start the second half, and you had something good going, looked like, and then fumble, and then your next snap after that was another turnover.
Yeah.
But right up until that point, maybe you thought there was still a chance.
That was devastating. Yes, it was. Obviously, we can't talk about it enough, and you know, ball security is paramount. And when we put the ball on the ground, and you know, it seemed like he might have been down too, and the call stood though. So whatever that means. So you know, we can't do it. I mean, you have to give the ball to the referee. That's that. You know, that's our job, and it's devastating. I mean, you talk about it's not just a possession at that point. That was possession of points. So that's a 14-point swing right there. If you're moving it, and all of a sudden you don't have the opportunity to score anymore, and then they score on that play, that's going to devastate you.
Ryan, can you talk a little bit about if you've seen these conditions before, played in front of a crowd like this before, either one of those?
This is definitely the loudest and best crowd I played in front of before. Played at Penn State earlier in the year, not even close. And as far as the conditions, just snow. I mean, played in snow growing up, but definitely never on a real football field like this, so it was different. But it was something we just had to adjust to, and it was just another game. It was awesome to play in, and just out there playing football.
Coach Carty, you know, a couple times in this ball game, you guys were able to convert on a short yardage spot and a fourth down spot later in the ball game. But I know, you know, throughout the year there have been moments where you guys have been short down in distances, and it's just been a trial for you guys over the course of the year. I know I'm not asking you to put the whole season in perspective, but you know, knowing your offense is explosive and has a capability. I mean, how much do you wrestle with that, knowing that it's just been, you know, efficiency-wise and those fourth and shorts, it's been a difficult spot for your team?
Yeah, I have to look at that, Dan. I'm not gonna answer that question because I don't think it has been necessarily that case. Obviously, I know in the Villanova game we missed a couple, and then we missed, too early in this game. We're also playing against 2 top 10 defenses against those games,
Right.
so you're gonna miss some. It doesn't mean you don't do it, and so, you have to weigh it, and you have to, it's going to be a decision based on, percentages and what we can and can't, make up at that point. I think part of it early too was that I didn't want to punt the ball because I wasn't sure if we were going to snap the ball to the punter. So.
I mean, how does the snow compare to the rain? You guys played a bunch of rainy games back at home. I mean, how is it different when you're out there? Because you maybe mentioned the wind is more difficult in a passing game than the rain,
Yeah.
right? And is the snow, how does that stack up between wind and rain? I mean, how does that all compare in that kind
Yeah,
of thing?
I mean, I think in hindsight, rain is certainly harder than snow because of throwing the ball is a lot harder, the actual grip of the ball. And then catching it, usually as that spins, it gets a little bit tough to catch. I thought eventually we kind of realized what was okay and what wasn't to do on offense, and I think it's a little bit harder to defend the pass in the back end. It's probably a little bit easier to pass rush in the snow. It's a little harder to go backwards than it is to go forward, and so I think we just had to kind of settle in and figure that out early. I think Ryan did a great job at kind of buying some time back there and making those throws. There were times where I literally couldn't see if the ball was completed or not from the sideline. It was that bad for me. It seemed like these guys were okay at throwing and catching, thank God, because it was a way for us to move the ball a little bit more in chunks here and there. And then obviously, once the actual snow settled down, I thought we were a little bit more settled in the second half. Unfortunately, it wasn't out of hand yet, and then the fumble kind of got us, and that was one of those things that kind of then it started to snowball, pun intended.
I guess for both of you guys, after playing Montana, how do they compare to the teams you see week in, week out in the CAA?
And I'll take that. I think they're similar to the upper echelon, the top 4 or 5 teams in the CAA. I think that team is just very well coached, and they play really hard. They're long, they're athletic. They have playmakers on all 3 phases, which is similar to ourselves in the top 3 or 4 teams in our conference. I think the thing that maybe sets Montana apart is the home field advantage that they have. I think that's something that is a little bit different than we see in our league. That's as far as talent, I mean they're talented, but we've played against talented as well, and we are talented. Is that team 30 points better than us? I don't think so, and I think that's us not playing great and not necessarily handling some of the situations and adversity that was thrown our way today. But we were certainly 30 points less than them on the scoreboard. So.
All right, thanks guys.